Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Today I have what I think is a slightly different World of Warships replay from what you'd normally see on YouTube. Usually if someone puts a replay up and makes a YouTube video out of it, it's usually an extraordinary battle or fantastic levels of damage, a ridiculous amount of kills. There will be a decent amount of damage and a decent amount of kills in this game, but that's not actually the point of this video. There's a couple of reasons I'm making it. The first one is as an apology to the star of today's show, which is Tera 416 in the USS Salem. The reason it's an apology is, as you can see, I'm in a division with him there, along with Mr. G, a clanmate. Not to be confused with the community contributor of the similar name. This one's the original. And it's all about the last 4 or 5 minutes of the battle. The battle was very mediocre from my point of view. I didn't play particularly well. It was the end of a stream, was getting tired. And I must admit, with the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game left to go, I'd actually left the battle and gone to port. Something Tera didn't realise when what happened in the last 4 to 5 minutes happened, and I think he was quite pleased that it had been captured on stream for people to see, only to realise a little bit later on that both I, G, and pretty much everybody else had left the battle and weren't actually watching. So I promised him that I would make, or that I promised him first that I would show this replay on my stream the next time I logged on, but I forgot. So we're making a YouTube video. Pay attention to that chat comment in the left there, the reference to hands, which will be familiar to a few of you. That's going to come back and be a little bit important later, as you will see. So as I said, Taylor's driving. Tera. God, I can't even get his name right. 3 years. Sorry, Tera. This is going from bad to worse. It really is, isn't it? This is meant to be an apology, and I can't even get your name right. Never mind. He's driving the USS Salem. Should be familiar to most people by now. It's been in the game for quite a while. It's a very popular Tier 10 freemium. And what I mean by freemium is it's technically a premium, but you don't use real money to buy it. It's not, as far as I'm aware anyway, purchasable with your wallet. You buy it with in-game currency, which from memory I think is around about the 226,000 mark for coal. It's essentially a copy-paste of the Tech Tree Tier 10 US Heavy Cruiser, the Des Moines. There are a couple of differences. It doesn't get access, for instance, to the Legendary module that you can get for the Des Moines, which basically gives it the same acceleration as a Bugatti Veyron. It has a radar similar to the Des Moines, but it has a reduced range. It does, however, gain an improved heal, so survivability does go up. Other than that, it's very, very similar, if not identical. Same armor scheme, same fantastic DPM from these auto-loading 203mm guns. And as you can see from the position that Tera's taken here, it has the same island-abusing high gun arcs and sort of lolling shells, which make it fantastic for picking spots like he has there, where he hasn't got line of sight between him and the enemy battleships pushing down, which essentially means he can treat that corner of the island like a smokescreen, and he can fire from relative safety. The battle's going well so far. Looks like we're going to take D. Mr. G and his Petropavlovsk is getting ready to kite from the 2 battleships and cruisers that's pushing down. There is a Shimakaze spotted around here somewhere, or soon to be spotted around here somewhere. But if you look at the mini-map, you'll notice in a second, and Tera will as well, the position that Petropavlovsk was last spotted in, which is where I refer you to the earlier comment in chat with the reference to hands. In the meantime, Tera's taking a moment just to try and start some fires on these battleships. Now, I'm not 100% sure because I can't remember from memory, but I'm pretty confident Tera's running the range mod on this Salem, which is, well, some people will class as questionable. I run the range mod on my Salem in Des Moines, and I've pretty much done it since the Deadeye meta. I mean, Deadeye's gone now as a captain skill, and it always used to happen before, but I found that lately, the last few weeks, couple of months, there's been so many more battleships and ships playing passively and sitting farther and farther back on the map, that to get the most out of the positions, such as Tera's got here, if you have that range mod, it really, really makes a difference. And as you can see, Tera's noted on the mini-map as well where that Petropavlovsk was going. He's looking nervously over his left shoulder there. Because if you do suddenly have a Petropavlovsk pop up on your side, it can get rather uncomfortable. So he's keeping a key eye on the centre of the map here, whilst trying to support me, and I think it's fellow Shimmer, while we push into the Shimakaze that's just shown itself north of B. Yeah, just keeping an eye out. He knows it's coming. That's one of the key differences that you'll notice with a player that's been playing for a while. He saw on the mini-map that ship was coming down. He's paying constant attention to the mini-map, and he's predicted what he's going to do. I mean, couple it with the comment about Hans in the chat, and then the legend that is this map coming down here. You can pretty much be sure that that guy's a Flambass fan. Torpedoes from the Shimakaze. Yep, there we go. Radar's detected the Shimakaze. He's got a 6-second delay, and there we go. If we can remove the destroyer down this flank, it will be quite big. Yep. As if by magic, there's a Petropavlovsk. Now, do you remember when you were kids and you used to watch programs like Gladiator or something where they did stunts and bits and pieces? They would always come with this warning message on the bottom of the screen or narrator with things like, don't try this at home. Well, I'm beginning to think there are certain YouTube videos and Twitch streams that should come with the same thing, because that Petro's obviously a fan of Flambass. And what is Flambass famous for? Going down the middle on two brothers. The only problem is, this Petro isn't Flambass. Now, Flambass is a fantastic player, great streamer, and I've lots of times myself watched his streams to pick up hints and tips, to pick up little bits and nuggets of knowledge. And although going a little Flambass is good, never ever go full Flambass. Okay? Which is something that this Petropavlovsk is going to discover in another minute or two, and we'll watch. Now, looking at the mini-map, yeah, this side's pretty safe. There's two battleships and a cruiser. Both are pushing away. But there is a ship ton of problems coming down the 3 line. This Petro has to go first. So the Burgoyne, myself, Tera, we're pulling back. We're getting ready to face what's coming down. Mostly the 2 and 3 line, although we've got a Des Moines stuck out there on the 2 line. Not quite sure what he's doing there. But yes, as the Petro discovers the error of his ways, it's disgusting DPM you can get out of the Salem and Des Moines. It really is. Looks like Tera's leaving the Kurfürst to deal with the Petro. He's got more problems coming down. That's a Vampire and a Halland and a Des Moines and a Kurfürst, all coming down the 3 line. Kurfürst is still dealing with the Petro. Now, this push has forced Tera into something that the Salem really doesn't want to do. He can't get the island cover, which is forcing him to play this as an open water kiting cruiser, which the Salem and the Des Moines are not built for. Not really. That's not their point in the game. They don't have the maneuverability, they don't have the speed, they don't have the armour. But when the situation arises, needs must sometimes. We're up to 82,000 damage. A little bit of team play we're trying to get here. You can see you've got myself, you've got Tera, and you've got the Burgoyne as well, all focusing the Kurfürst. When you are outnumbered and there's 2, 3 or more of you, the only thing you really can do is focus fire. Pick one ship at a time, burn it down. If you do that and the enemy doesn't, you can beat superior numbers sometimes. It also helps that they're basically burning through the Kurfürst repair party. Someone will get a fire, someone will get another one, he'll repair it. As soon as that repairs down, he can't use it again for another minute or so. You can start a couple of sticky fires. So it's very much by the numbers, one at a time, grind them down. Alright, we're approaching halfway through the battle, at this point, things are still relatively even. We've lost one more ship than they have, but we have 2 caps. We're about to get a 3rd one. See, this is another point you'd think. We've just been mocking that Petropavlos for coming down the middle when there's a large number of ships the other side. In fact, it was the Kurfürst that actually went to deal with him. So you'd think having an abject lesson of going down the middle in 2 brothers, not 3 minutes ago, the Kurfürst might have learnt from that lesson, especially as he can see that the vast majority of the enemy fleet is actually moving down the map. But nope, the Kurfürst has gone straight up the middle and is now pushing into a Vermont, a Shikishima, and a Yoshino, which is pretty much only going to end one way. In the meantime, Tera and I are here. Now we know there's 2 destroyers down here. We know we're about to lose that Des Moines that's about to get absolutely gang raped by a Des Moines, a Kurfürst, and a Halland. So Tera's doing all he can here. He's taking up the best angle that he can. He's waiting for me to spot. I'm pushing in. There'll be a destroyer popping up momentarily. And there we go. Now at this point, I'm going to choose to believe Tera was holding his fire for a good reason and not supporting me, as opposed to just letting me take some damage, because Tera is known to be a rather passive-aggressive person. But what I think he's doing is waiting for the vampire. Yeah, he's waiting for the vampire to commit to a turn, because at that point with that small island, he could have gone left or he could have gone right. So he's waited till he's committed the turn, and he's got to follow it through before he's opened up. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. Okay, we've managed to push the vampire away. He's got a couple of ships just within range. Now what he's doing here is trying to stay at the limit of his firing range. It just gives him perhaps a little bit of edge in with the enemy shells dispersion as they're coming in at range. Now note that Des Moines and what shell type he's firing. That'll be important later. Notice it's AP. We'll come back to that. The enemy are going to lose that Des Moines that's out on the 2 line. That's me engaging him with my guns, and he's only got about 600 or 700 hit points, so even a bowing Des Moines will get burnt down quite quickly by a Smaland with that low hit points. We've got 1 battleship here. Yep, I didn't quite see it happen. I wasn't paying attention. But lo and behold, the Kurfürst is dead. So example of number 2 of why you should not go down the middle of the 2 brothers map. Remember, never go full flambas. The Yamato's pushing, but he's getting heavily focused. And Tera's again trying to use the islands as best he can. He doesn't know where the destroyer is, but he knows because he's firing he's not spotted yet, so it won't last very long. As long as he can keep something blocking line of sight between him and the nearest enemy ship, he can get a few salvos in here. It'll end shortly because the destroyer will come around, or that Kurfürst will come into his gun bloom range, and he's seen it. Look, he's turning. The only thing he can really do now is use the momentary lull in detectability to be able to turn out and get as favourable position as he can. And there goes the Yamato. And if I'm honest, this is pretty much the point where I had completely given up on the battle. There's myself, there's Tera, there's 1 Shimakaze that's on an adventure somewhere up the north of the map. We've just lost our cap advantage. The enemy has a 4-ship advantage. The game's pretty much done. At least you'd think it was pretty much done. To anybody else, you think it would. Oh, C started being flipped, so we know there's a destroyer in there. Can buy a little bit of time. There's my radar. If we can get 1 destroyer gone. Unbeknownst to me, unfortunately, there is actually 2 destroyers and a Des Moines. So focus firing again, myself and Tera. Try and get rid of the vampire. Some effective fire. There we go. Then the Halland. Although we can't really afford to trade ships at all at the moment, 2 destroyers for 1 destroyer is better than a 1-for-1 or a 0-for-1. Again, I'm not quite sure why he chose to fire at the Thunderer there and not take another salvo at the Halland. Again, I'm going to choose to believe it's not because he wants me to die. which I'm going to do right now. Okay. So as I said, this is the pretty much gone back to port. I've given up on the game. I'm under the assumption Tera's going to be dead pretty quickly. G's gone back to port. In fact, I think the majority of our team and the enemy team that are already dead have gone back to port. However, we all seem to have forgotten to tell Tera, who decides to go for a real hold my beer moment. I've got this. Now, this is the point I want to draw your attention to. The Thunder has just fired an AP salvo. Look at that coming over from the right. That's Des Moines AP. He's still firing AP. And the Thunderer, with its higher caliber guns that are able to overmatch most parts of the Salem, he switched to HE. And the Des Moines, firing at a bow in Salem, is firing AP. And he's still firing AP. And even more AP. And some more AP. And what is it this time? Judging by the ricochet pings, more AP. And some more AP. Now, I'm not sure what's going on with this Thunderer. See, again, with the HE. With a well-aimed salvo, he could absolutely devastate Tera Salem here. But whilst the Des Moines is steadfastly refusing to fire anything other than AP, the Thunder is refusing to fire anything other than HE. And he's paying for it. Tera's doing the best he can with angling. I mean, it's made all the better by that Des Moines refusing to fire anything other than his AP. 11,000, burning, 10,000, 4,000. Still firing AP from the Des Moines, and we've got a kill. Now, how many salvos do you think it would take from that Des Moines, if any of us were playing it, before you realised, I'm not really getting the most utility out of this AP, and he's still going? So now watch this. Tera's about to give him an abject lesson. Well, he would have done if the destroyer hadn't just popped up. He thinks the game's all over as well. Anything for that little bit of extra damage. Oh, Tera's running the Halsey captain, so he's just propped the implacable achievement, or for his Confederate achievement, sorry, the implacable talent. Right, 22,000 hit points on the Des Moines. Hallen's dead. What are we down to? 22,000 on the HE salvo. 21,000. He's still firing AP. I'm not sure what the Kerfer's doing, to be honest. Still firing AP. He's literally watching his health bar disappear. It's basically the same ship to Tera's HE. But not once. Nope, still going with the AP. And he's on fire. Now this is where Tera suffers a little bit. It's a little bit too much angle. But he gets him anyway, with a fire from his HE. Now, I can't help but thinking, if just one of those salvos had been a HE salvo, he probably would have lived. He probably would have lived. So there we are. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the battle results screens. Tera didn't send me those to pop up. But to summarise, 226,887 damage, 4 kills, 3,070,000 potential damage, Confederate award, and a witherer. Tera 416 in his USS Salem, showing that sometimes it's not about if you die, but how you die. That's all from me. Good night.